Okay, well, didn't really want to make this video, but I've got an oil leak. So this is the right side heat exchanger. I pulled it off to have a bit of a look to see where it was coming from. I didn't wipe any of the oil away. I wanted to see what was there. And can I turn on this light? Doesn't really help. So it's dripping down from the bottom of the camshaft tower, and I thought it might be rocker shaft leaks, but having a good look, I just get this torch. Normally rocker shaft leaks come from, you know, further up in the back of the camshaft tower, but I don't really think that's happening. I think this is the culprit here. That seems to be the wettest, but I'm also not sure where that drip of oil is coming from. So it's either coming from between the head and the camshaft tower, or if you look at this, like look at that telltale sign there, I just wonder whether it's dripping down from that bolt. I'm not sure. I'd like to think that that oil's getting through the thread there, but I've got a bad feeling. I mean, this one definitely, look at this back one here. This one's definitely got oil leaking from the thread where the camshaft tower bolts onto the head. So I might give that a clean and put some sealant just over the back of it just to try and stop that one. I think I'm going to try to put some sealant on the back of that one, because it looks like it's been dripping, but it's not that wet, if I'm honest. It's not that wet there. That's just not that wet. I think this leak is coming. It could be a rocker shaft if I'm lucky. Where are we? Here, it could be coming from this side in here. Oh, yeah, okay, there's moisture up there. I don't know, you probably can't see it, but how do I shine this up there? Yeah, I think it's a rocker shaft leak. So I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to tilt the car to one side and see whether I can attack that rocker shaft leak. Hopefully that's what it is. Okay, so what I've done is I've jacked up the car and I've tilted it to the left. Hang on, let me just get up and show you, give you a bit of an idea. It's on jack stands. It's just tilted a little bit to the left, and it hasn't fallen down on me yet, so that's probably a good thing. Now, come up in here, I just assumed it was one of the lower rocker shafts. And I can see all this mess in here, but I think that's coming from above. So I've probably got to pull the intake valve cover off and have a bit of a look. Can you see that? It's pretty clean in there on that side. It's just this side here. It sort of correlates with where the drip is on the back side of the camshaft tower here. But I suspect that's coming from above, because if it was leaking from the bottom one, it wouldn't be leaking on the top here. So got a bit more work to do. But to give you an idea, that's how much oil came out. Nothing. Virtually nothing came out when I did that. I just pulled the intercooler off just to give me a little bit of extra access on the side here, and I've got to ask, what do people think? Is that normal? Or is this because I'm only using a gravity drain feed and the oil's not draining quickly enough? Or is that just normal for what goes on in a turbo? Would love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so intercooler's off, valve cover's off. Now I'm going to try and put the phone in here. Sorry, but I'm pretty sure that is our culprit. So you can see all the oil getting out of it. The next one over looks reasonable. Can I turn the camera back the other way and try and see this side? I think that one's pretty dry. I'm pretty sure that oil there is just from over here running across. But we'll proceed to find top dead centre for cylinder number 5, and either tighten it up or pull it out and put some new seals on. Okay, so I've got the rocker shaft and the rocker arm out of the car. The shaft, look at the pad's actually in pretty nice condition. No issues there. The bushing is reasonably well polished on the bottom, which is where all the wear happens. A little scratchy on that side there, but I think that's probably considered normal, I think. The shaft itself looks like it's got a few little minor scratches in it, little scoring marks. You can barely feel them with your fingernails. If you go to the smooth side, you can tell the difference, like there's not really anything there, but come to the rougher side, the slightly rougher side, and only on a couple of them can you actually feel it. A lot of these are just marks, some of them are scratches. So for the time being, I'm going to rotate the shaft 180 and put this smooth surface on the bottom. But that doesn't help me. I'm trying to find the source of the leak. It does have, the previous guy who built this did put the RSR seals in, and I'm just having a look. I'm not sure, but I know what happens sometimes when people put these in, they just jam them in and it actually shaves a portion of the seal off. And the seals aren't a guarantee either, don't get me wrong. They're not a guarantee. What's that on there? Some marks on the bushing. This one looks okay. Let's turn it over and do the other side. Okay, so just here, that's, I don't know if you can see that, just in front of my thumbnail there. I'm just going to rotate it around so you can see different angles and see the light. That's definitely a spot where the rubber seal's been shaved. Let's keep looking. I imagine it would only be in the one spot. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a shave there. So this is on the smooth side. A shave there. Is that the same one? I think it was the same one. Yeah, it was the same one. Alright, so all I'm going to do is pop these seals out, and then I'm going to give the cam tower a really good clean, and I'm going to try putting a little bit of Cural T in there. For the guys that know what Cural T is, well, it's now called Cural T2. This is a non-hardening sealant which Porsche use, and well, some of the guys recommend it for certain gaskets like paper gaskets and whatnot, but a lot of guys say don't do it. I'm going to use a little bit of this in a couple of spots just to try and give me a little bit more protection, and I'm going to try and reinsert these gently and easily so as not to scratch it. There's a plane going overhead, so I'm going to turn the video off. Okay, so I'm on the final stretch of this little project, maintenance task, whatever you want to call it. Just giving these silicon gaskets a bit of a clean, and obviously cleaning the valve covers as well, so they're all nice. One of the things I like, I'll just give you a bit of a look at the camshaft towers as well, but what I like about silicon valve cover gaskets is that unlike the paper ones, they do not leave any residue, so you don't have to scrape anything with a razor blade or, you know, get it off with a brass brush or a stiff brush or some Scotch-Brite or anything like that. Come have a look at the, turn the light on the phone. So all that residue you can see there is from when, I think it's before the previous person rebuilt this. That's just like old sealant that hasn't been, you know, cleaned up and whatnot. So when he put this engine back together and did a reseal, he didn't get those things vapor blasted or sand blasted or anything like that. But the reasons why I like the silicon valve cover gaskets is I've had to do nothing but give them a wipe, and I'll give them another quick wipe because, as you can see, it's just starting to leak a little bit off the ledge there. Look at this. See that? That's a big divot. So that's where some moron in the past has used something like a screwdriver and whatnot to, you know, get in there and lever the valve cover off, because why not? Yeah, so even with that giant big dent, look at that. If I just move it around, even with that giant big dent, and it's on the lower valve cover as well, this gasket does not leak. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I've given up in there a bit of a clean. Remember, that was all dirty in there, well, oil residue in there, which I thought might have been coming from here, but it was from the top. Well, I'm pretty sure it was from the top. So I've done my valve clearances on this side. They were all pretty much right. I'm not going to bother doing the other side because it's not noisy and it's not due. And I'm just going to rebuild the whole thing anyway. So I'm going to whip the valve covers back on and, yeah, put it all back together. But while we're here, just give you a bit of a look at my muffler, if anyone's interested. That's a Vibrant ultra quiet resonator that's on that. That comes straight off the turbo. It's a 3-inch one, and I'm just using gravity feed from the turbo to the sump plate. Now, I'm not 100% certain whether it's gravity feeding enough, but again, as I said in the beginning, there was a bit of oil in the video I showed you in the intake. So I would love to know whether you think that's normal or whether I need to put a pump on there. It'd be really nice to see how... I actually don't know how much oil comes out of that thing. Got no idea. So anyway, let's button it all back up.